Alright guys, my name is Shervin. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the Tangerine MoneyBack card, which is probably the most flexible credit card in Canada. Now, usually credit cards are very specific about their features and they only offer cashback or rewards in specific categories, which is why some credit cards are good for paying your bill at the restaurant and some other credit cards are good for groceries. But what makes the Tangerine credit card stand out is that it's the only credit card that actually allows you to pick which categories you want to receive cashback on. So that instead of working around what the card is offering you, you can work around what you actually spend on. And of course, depending on what your expenses look like and what other credit cards you have in your wallet, you can choose different categories. And in essence, because of this flexibility and the fact that this card is completely free to own with no annual fees whatsoever, this card is a no-brainer for every Canadian. Now, if you watch to the end of the video, I'm going to walk you through every different category that you can pick from, and I'm going to show you how you can get the most out of this card. But before we get into all of that, if you're new to my channel and you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the subscribe button down below and join the community. I make new videos about personal finance and investing on a regular basis. And by subscribing to the channel, you get to see all my new videos right as they come out. Also, if you enjoyed the video and want to help me out even more, then do me a favor and smash the like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. But alright, with all that said, let's get right into it. Now, first, before we talk about all the specifics about the card, I wanted to mention that with any credit card, it's important that you always pay off your balance on time and in full. Now, I know I've talked about this in previous videos, but it bears repeating because so many people go wrong here and spend a lot of money on their credit card and fail to pay it off on time and in full, which then leads to incredibly high interest rates, usually over 20% worth of interest coming on their balance as well. Not to mention that this also hurts their credit score, which is going to be a problem later on. So just take this as a public service announcement to make sure you always pay off your balance on time and in full. And part of that is to make sure you never spend money on anything with a credit card that you can't afford to pay off right away. Don't get into the mentality of, oh, I'll just buy this thing with my credit card and I'll pay it off later with my paycheck next month or anything along those lines, because that's how disaster happens. And I promise you, as long as you just do this one thing to make sure you always pay off your balance on time and in full, you will never pay anything to own this card. And in fact, you will make a lot from the card just by using it on a day-to-day basis. So just be careful of that. And now with that said, let's get into the benefits of this card. And I'm going to start with the big one, and that's the sign-up bonus. Now, this card has easily one of the best sign-up bonuses where you get 15% cash back for any spending that you have on the card for the first 2 months, up to $1,000 spent. So basically, if you just put your day-to-day expenses on this card for the first 2 months, you can get up to $150 in cash back just from the first $1,000 that you spend. And again, since you're just putting your day-to-day expenses that you're going to have anyways on this card, you're essentially getting $150 for free just for having this card, which is just a wonderful sign-up bonus. I mean, who doesn't want to get $150 for free? But of course, that's only the appetizer, because the main reason we're getting this card is the fact that we can get 2% cash back on any 2 categories of our choosing. Now, I'm going to go through every single one of these categories in detail in just a second, but I first wanted to mention that there is actually a way to get 3 categories of your choice instead of just 2. Now, you would get this extra feature if you open up the Tangerine bank account and maintain a specific minimum daily requirement. Now, of course, you don't have to do that. I just wanted to mention that that's an option that's available to you, but you could just decide to stick with choosing 2 of the categories, and that's fine. And again, you get 2% cash back for all the spending that you have within any of the categories that you choose from, and you also get 0.5% cash back on everything else. Now, the first category that you can choose from is groceries. And of course, this is a very popular one because we all have to spend money on groceries on a regular basis. Now, of course, there are other free-to-own credit cards that give you a higher cashback rate on groceries. For example, the BMO Cashback Mastercard, which gives you 3% back on groceries. But if you've seen my video about the BMO Cashback Mastercard, you know that that card doesn't give you the high cashback rates at Walmart stores, because those stores don't count as a grocery store. They actually count as a discount store. And this is where the Tangerine MoneyBack card comes out ahead, because this is the only card in Canada that can get you a high cashback rate at Walmart stores. That's because the groceries category on this card also includes Walmart stores and doesn't count them as a discount store. So if you're someone who regularly shops at Walmart stores, you definitely want to have this card and you definitely want to have the groceries option. But of course, if that's not you, then you should probably just get the BMO Cashback Mastercard, which gives you 3% cashback. And then just choose different categories on your Tangerine card and not wasting one of your options on groceries. The next category is furniture, and this is not one that you want to regularly have on your card because how often do you buy furniture really? But again, this is where the flexibility of this card really comes into play. Because remember, when you choose categories for this card, they're not forever. You can just change them whenever you want and they take effect from the next month. So I would say only use this category if you have a lot of expenses coming up. Let's say you're moving to a new place and you want to buy a lot of furniture, or maybe you just decided you want to change the scenery in your own home. Whatever the case is, anytime you want to buy furniture, just make sure to change the categories on your card the month before. And of course, you can just change the categories to furniture, spend all the money that you want, buy the furniture that is right for your place, and then from the following month, just change it back to whatever other category you were using. So you get 2% cash back on all the money that you spent at IKEA or wherever else you buy your furniture from, and then you can just go back to using a different category right away. Now the next category is restaurants, and this is one that I can comfortably tell you to just never use ever. And that is because there is a great credit card that is completely free to own known as the Simply Financial Visa card, and that card gets you 4% cash back on any money that you spent at restaurants, bars, or coffee shops. So really, every Canadian should just own that card and only use that card anytime you're at a restaurant, at a coffee shop, or at a bar. So I'm just going to assume you already have that card, and if you don't already have it, I'm just going to assume you're going to get it right now. I'll leave a link in the description. Not a sponsorship, but it is a referral link, so if you use that link to sign up for the card, we both get $50 for free, so why not? And it is by far the best credit card in Canada. I've made a full video about it if you want to check it out. But anyways, I'm just assuming you already have that card, and if you have that card, there's no reason to choose the restaurants category on the Tangerine card. Now the next category is for hotels, and this is one that you can again use only when you're traveling. So again, if you're going to be traveling and staying at a hotel next month, just change one of the categories to hotel to get 2% cash back from your stay. But of course, other than that, there's really no point in having this one selected. Now the next category is gas, and this is a juicy one because gas prices have gone up significantly in the past couple of years. And again, gas is one of those things that most people have to spend money on regularly without having any other options. Now again, there is another free to own credit card known as the American Express Simply Cash card, and that card also gets you 2% cash back on gas. So if you already have that card, there's no reason to select this category on the Tangerine card. But of course, it's the exact same rate, so if you don't already have the Amex card, you could just select the gas category on this one. Personally though, since I already have the Amex card, I'm not going to choose the gas category for the Tangerine card, but of course to each their own. Next up, we have recurring bill payments, and this can be anything from streaming services or any subscriptions or any bill payments. As long as it's an expense that is happening regularly and periodically, you can get 2% cash back on it if you choose this category. Now, this is a very good choice. It really depends on how much money you spend on subscriptions and streaming services and all that stuff. But if you do spend a lot, then definitely feel free to go for it. It's a very good category to choose. Now, the next category is drugstores. And again, this one is very specific to people's needs. Now, if you're someone who has to go to the drugstore regularly for whatever reason, then yeah, feel free to take advantage of the 2% cashback. But I feel like for most people, this is not going to be an essential category to choose. Next up, we have home improvements. And again, similar to the furniture category, anytime you have renovations or you've bought a new property where you have to get a lot of work done on the new property, basically anytime you know you have a lot of expenses coming up on contractors and workers and what have you, just make sure to change one of your categories to include home improvements. And this way you can get a high cashback rate from all the money that you spend improving your home. Next up is entertainment, and this could include anything from going to the movies, going to a concert, going to an escape room, or any of that stuff. Again, this is very need specific, and if you're someone who's going to a new concert every week or so, then yeah, for sure, go for it and use this category. But otherwise, I don't really think this is one of the essential ones, at least not for me. And last but not least, we have public transportation and parking, and this is one that I like quite a bit. Now, this category covers pretty much everyone because if you don't have a car, you have to spend a lot of money on public transportation. And if you do have a car, then you have to spend a lot of money on parking. Regardless of your situation, you usually spend a lot of money in this category, and there's really no other credit card that gives you a high cashback rate for these kinds of spending. So this is a category that I really like and I recommend to a lot of people, unless you're someone who just walks everywhere or something along those lines. Or if you're someone who works from a home office and never leave your home, then sure, I guess this wouldn't apply to you. But for pretty much everyone else, you can get a lot of value from getting a high cashback rate on this category. Now again, everyone is going to have different needs and are going to choose different categories based upon their needs. But for me personally, I would choose the public transformations and parking as one of my categories, and the other one I would rotate based on any spendings that I have coming up. And that's what I would recommend pretty much everyone else do as well. Now, as far as spending on other things go, I would just recommend you keep it off of this card because almost every other card gives you a minimum of 1% cashback on all the other spendings that you have. In fact, the Amex Simply Cash card that we talked about earlier gives you a flat rate of 1.25% on every purchase that you make. So if you're making purchases that don't fit into one of your selected categories, I would suggest just using a different card, not the Tangerine card. But of course, anytime you have a big expense coming up in one of the other categories, you can just change categories beforehand to make sure you get the most out of your expenses. Now that's about it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. I post there regularly, so if you want to be a part of it there, make sure you follow me there. And as always, if you have any questions about any of the stuff that we talked about in this video, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. I always respond to every single question that comes in. And now with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.